Hey everyone, it's CricketSong with Inner Wisdom, and you're watching another episode of Wyrds, Witches, Witchcraft. And I'm here with my usual co-host, Obsidian Fire. Say hello.
Hey, sorry, it's my fault if we're late today. I'm sorry. Bonjour tout le monde, j'espère que vous allez bien. Donc c'est ma faute si on est en retard, ce que je viens de dire. Et je suis désolée. Et j'espère que cet épisode va vous plaire. N'oubliez pas que la semaine prochaine, c'est le dernier de la saison. Je le dis tout de suite, je le redirai à la fin. Si vous avez des questions pour le prochain épisode, n'hésitez pas, envoyez-les à CricketSong. Your turn.
Yeah, it's all her fault. We were just trying to catch up, and we got caught up in discussing something very important. So sorry we started a couple of minutes late. Tonight, we are going to be talking about divination. And then we have a show next week, Q&A. I believe we're doing Q&A next week. So make sure you get your questions in. I have no idea what we're going to do if nobody gets their questions in, because so far I don't have any. And then the week after that, I'm going to have a conversation about tarot with Aaron from Turtle Heart Tarot, and then I'm going on hiatus. So that's 3 more episodes, and then we're going to be gone until October.
3?
Is it 3? 2, 3, you, or is it 3, 2? You and me. No, you and, is it 2?
I think after this one, it's just 2.
It's just 2. Holy moly.
I will check that.
Okay, so 2. Yeah. Yeah? Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 more episodes after today, and I'm gone on hiatus for a while. So, yeah. So
2 more for you. 1 more for me.
1 more for her. Yeah, so get your questions in for next week, because I don't know what we're going to talk about.
I don't care,
I don't know. But I do want to let people know, because I've been getting some messages. People are concerned about me. They're concerned about my health. They're concerned I'm not taking care of myself. I've gotten a few messages from people saying that they feel like my energy is bad and that I need to take care of myself. Let me assure you that I am fine. Physically, actually, I'm the best I've been in quite a long time, and I am exercising, and I am eating very well. So actually things are going well, and that's actually part of the reason I've been spending more time outdoors. It is summer. It's beautiful weather here in Washington State, and I've been doing a lot of yard work and getting out. I'm wearing a Fitbit. My son gave me a Fitbit for Mother's Day, and I've been hitting over 10,000 steps a day. So don't worry about my health. I'm actually doing really well. I think perhaps it's the idea that maybe YouTube is draining. You know, the time that I'm spending online with no real feeling of reward, maybe, working in the yard, when I'm actually, I tell my husband, I'm going outside, I'm going to go play in the dirt today. I'm sitting there and, I'm actually planting things, and I'm tending the garden, and I'm actually getting really dirty. The reward for that is just amazing. I'm actually building and cultivating the relationship with the fae, with the spirits here of the land, and it's very rewarding. So I want to spend more time doing that and less time doing this right now. And in the past week, I've been lost in my own little universe of Angie and Secrets of Sin. I've been lost in this universe, and I've been writing chapter after chapter after chapter. So I'm enjoying that too in the downtime when I'm not in the yard. So don't worry about me. I'm good. But I will be online and available to have conversations with in our Facebook group, Wyrds, Witches, Witchcraft. So you're going to see me in there, and I may be doing sporadic lives there. They're not going to be scheduled. It's going to be like, hey, I'm feeling like doing a live. I'm going to pop in. And if people are there, they're there. If they're not, you can watch it later. So if you want to interact with me, you can find me there. Obsidian Fire is a member of the group. So you could probably.
It's a long time now, but she's
there, and she does pop in. And I see her in there, every so often. I see a like or whatever. So if you want to converse with her and touch base with her, I'm sure if you message her in the group, she'll respond. So we'll be there.
Yes,
so we're not totally disappearing. Just not. I won't be basically creating content because my time is being spent elsewhere.
Me too. I have a lot of work to do. So.
Oh, thank you. Someone said I look great. Thank you.
Yes.
I feel good. I was taken a little back with the messages I was receiving. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't know.
No, you look great. You don't.
Okay.
Don't worry. Don't worry. You look
great. I'm like, what kind of energy are they feeling off of me? I don't know. I think it's just the draining. Yeah. It's not, I'm okay. I am physically, as okay as you can be, dealing with things that I'm, dealing with as a woman in her approaching her cronehood. But yes, you can join the Facebook group if you're just go to Wyrds, Witches, and Witchcraft. And, it is a closed group. It's closed because there are people who are not out of the broom closet with their friends and family. And if you belong to this group and it wasn't closed, your friends on Facebook could see that you're posting in that Facebook group. So it's not closed to keep people out, but to protect those of you who are not open with your associations with witchcraft, considering it's called Wyrds, Witches, Witchcraft, but yeah, so just ask to join and we will approve you. Okay, so divination. We're talking about divination tonight. I don't even have an outline for what we were going to talk about, and we never kind of touched base about where we wanted to start with this.
No, but maybe it's not really necessary. I suppose people gonna ask us a question, so feel free to ask. And we've already talked a little bit about divinations and divination tools in different episodes, but we had never have a full-on episode on the subject. So I was thinking that maybe people gonna be interested in that. So maybe we could start the old CricketSong way. How do you understand divination?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Divination. Let me get a sort of a definition up for us. So let's see. Divination. Okay, so if I just put in divination, the dictionary says it's the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or the unknown by, quote, supernatural means. So, I would say, divination is sort of like gaining knowledge using psychic senses, whether that's sort of to, again, foresee what's coming, the possibilities of someone's future, or to just gain knowledge about a situation. So you may not be divining the future, meaning you may not looking to predict what's going to happen, but to gain a deeper understanding of what is already happening. So that's how I would define divination. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Plus, I was wondering, because I've read that several times, and in the beginning the term divination was pretty much based on the divine part,
Mm.
because the communication was intended to be with the divine's being.
Oh, yeah, like with quote
Yeah,
deity,
absolutely.
right?
And so I tend to use divination exactly in the way that was described, but with the divine part in it, because often I'm not asking the out there the question. I'm talking to a specific entity most of the time.
Yeah, although I wouldn't say for me it's only the divine. I
Yes.
don't, and if we're saying divine as in the gods, because my spiritual army consists of, you know, beloved dead and other spiritual entities, not just
Not just
it,
deity.
yeah,
Me neither.
I'll
Me
include
neither.
deity, but
Yeah,
it may not, because I've used divination to communicate with one specific entity that's a beloved dead. It's someone
yeah,
who was physical. So
absolutely.
I mean, as much as this individual, when they were in physical, was very close to me, they were not a god. You know what I mean?
I so agree. But it was interesting, I think, to mention it because I
Yeah,
do
no, I
that,
do. Yeah.
but I do use it to just talk with light being, or just, sorry for the just, beings of another natures,
Yeah. Yeah.
which are
And
not
yeah, because
divine.
I think any sort of entity that isn't physical, depending, I guess, on the tool that you're using, you could divine, you know, you could use divination to gain insight into a current situation through a tool and speak to any non-physical entity. And that information, if it's helpful, you're going to get insight into it, you know?
So true. So what's that's a stupid question because I bet I already have the answer, but maybe they don't. If the one who watches. So, what's your favorite tool?
My favorite tool, well, I don't know if it's my favorite tool, but it's my go-to would be tarot.
Yeah, obviously. And what
Yeah.
else do you use?
I use my crystal ball. I have a crystal ball, and I use witches' runes. I use a pendulum, but not so much for divination. I have in the past, but I
Mm-hmm.
use it more as well. No, I guess if I'm doing Reiki, I'll use the pendulum. My black mirror. I use my black mirror as well. I think those are the tools I use the most. What about you?
Well, mostly Oracle and divination tools, divination rods, sorry, and spirit board.
Oh, spirit board. Oh, I have one of those.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah, the
I've
one.
used it. I've used it. It's not my go-to. Oh, and I could say, I mean, I've done table tipping.
Yes.
I had a table that I enchanted for table tipping specifically. That I would personally, I found that more for me, if I'm working with someone else, for me, more effective than a spirit board.
I'd like to try.
Oh,
I
I
really.
would table tip with you. Oh my God, we would table tip every night.
Oh
If we
yeah.
were if we
Oh,
were able to do, we
the
would be doing that every. Actually, we'd probably use the spirit board too.
two and everything else. I said.
Oh my God,
It would be, witchcraft party. You got divination and witchcraft everywhere.
I
Every
know, right? Oh my God, yeah, yeah.
someone is asking. Yeah, I would so love that. Someone's asking, what is table tipping?
Okay. So table tipping originated with the spiritualist movement, you know, spiritualism. I think it was around the 1920s when it really became popular. And what it is, it's sort of like a seance. You have a group of people or just two. You could do it yourself, but just like with a spirit board, it's better to have more than one person work it. And you all sit around a table. Ideally, they suggest a three-legged table, only because then it'll tip easier. It's not as sturdy as a four-legged table. So a three-legged table is best. And it doesn't have to be very big, just big enough for the group to sit around the table. And just like with putting your hands on the planchette, you put your hands on the table, but you don't want to press down hard, but you don't want to be too light. You just want to lightly, just like with the planchette of a spirit board. And usually you have a medium who acts as the conduit. And the medium would open the table just like when you open the spirit board. And the way that the spirits communicate with you is by lifting the table up and dropping it down, so it's tapping. They tip the table. Generally, just like when I use my pendulum, I say, okay, one tap will be yes, two taps will be no, just like with a pendulum. And then you begin addressing the spirits that have gathered. Sometimes the table will turn, meaning that it will spin. Sometimes the table will move across the floor. We've had situations like that happen. I used to have a video on my channel of a session or part of a session that I did with a client. I don't know if it's still available. I'll look.
I've
Let
checked
me look.
on, but I don't know if.
I don't know. You know how I get with my video.
But
I clean house.
Impressive. Yeah, I know you tend to do that, but
I do. I will look right now, and if I find it, I will put the link in the chat so you can check it out. But let me see. Table tipping.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it's still on there. Okay, so
Nice.
let me share the link with you.
Yeah, it was popular during the early
1920s, I want to say. I could be wrong.
19th years, where it was a time where a lot of people were trying to communicate with their beloved dead. So there was a rising of different methods, and this one, table tipping, was one of the biggest. And there were also Ouija boards.
Yeah.
It was
Yep. Seances, table. Yeah. It was a big movement to talk to the dead. Yeah. And I know that the spiritualist churches would do like people would do those kind of seances and table tippings and things like that too.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I don't think I get the question by Bamboo Songs. Could you please help me?
Would making something be considered a tool? I mean, you mean making your own divination tool? I mean, you can definitely make your own divination tool.
Actually, you can. I'd say if you are, for example, let's say you're going for a spirit board, there is chances that it will be more effective for you if you are making the tool yourself, because then you are already putting your energy into it and creating a bond with the tool if you make it yourself. So yeah,
I would love to go to Lilydale too. Now I live so far away from it because it's clear across the country. Raquel was talking about going to Lilydale. It's in New York. I believe it's spiritualist camp. And they do a whole bunch of readings, mediumship type readings
Oh,
for, is it the whole summer, Raquel? It's pretty amazing.
I would like to see that, to visit.
So you have to come to America and then we'll make a trip out there.
Yeah, yeah. I know that I have to.
I
I
gotta get my ass to France too. So
yeah, we will figure it out.
I'm
At some,
glad I'm not there this week though with your heat wave. So
yeah, no, no, don't. Please don't. And if it continues this way, we will have to plan. Um, when we will be able to plan, we will have to plan that outside of the summer because it's becoming more
although I
and more.
don't want to come during the winter either.
No, you're right. It should be in between. It's September, October, because
October.
more often we have a really hot autumn comparing to what it should be. So it's like a nicer summer.
Well, we should plan to spend Samhain together.
Yeah, that would be great. It doesn't snow usually at Samhain, so it should be okay.
Hmm.
We will think about that.
Mhm.
Sorry, we are
I
planning.
know, like they really want to hear our plans about France
I'm
and
not sure. Okay, so you're welcome, Louis. I'm happy if it helped. If it helped, I wasn't sure.
everybody's now talking about going to France.
Sorry.
Do you ever read like tea leaves or do you do things like that?
No, no, absolutely not. But it's an interesting way to do divination. I would like to meet someone who actually do that because it's interesting. But I do not. I do not. And
Yeah,
did
me
you?
neither. I had considered learning, and I can't remember why I didn't. Something else came up. Oh, I think I started the time that I kind of was interested in it was the time I started taking or getting attuned for Reiki. So that took most of my focus.
Yeah.
Do you know, I want to mention, I think I have a video about it too, but Spirit Flame divination is when you consecrate a candle to do divination work, and then
Hmm.
you take something thicker than a piece of paper, like
Hmm.
cardstock, and you put it over the flame,
Oh yeah, I
not
think.
so much that it burns the hole through it, but it marks it. And you
Yeah,
just, you get into your meditative or trance state and you kind of focus on a question or you focus on asking for insight and you just move the paper over the flame and
I,
then
I
you interpret the images.
yes,
That's
I,
pretty cool.
yeah, I've seen that a couple of times. Yeah,
I
it's
think I
it's
have a video on that too.
yes, I think you do. I'm still. Yeah, I should still make my own black mirror, but I didn't
Yes.
yet. There's a bunch of things I would like to do and I didn't do because I get catch up in something different, something else. And
Although I
also,
know some people with the Black Mirror, they have funny feelings about it because they're afraid to actually see something show up in the mirror. I know some people can be pretty freaked out about that.
well, as long as you are setting up any protections needed,
Hmm.
there's no reason for you to be scared of anything. If you're clear to about who you're gonna to talk with,
Yeah.
it should be okay. But obviously, you would not pick your phone and dial any number and waiting for who's gonna pick up. You wouldn't do that, as well as you wouldn't leave your front
I,
door wide open.
I have done that. I've picked up the phone and just called someone. I have. And I have, which I do not advise when I was first doing channeling and trance mediumship. And we'd hold seances, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, cool. I'm just gonna like open my channel and say, yo, whoever wants to come in, come on in. Yeah, no, it's not. I do not advise that. That was stupid.
It's
And I was
dangerous.
lucky that it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's tempting. I mean, it's a tempting thing to do, to just see who shows up. But yeah, it's not advisable.
No, you should not, in
I
my
did. It was, I mean, like I said, it was a good thing that nothing really terrible transpired. But
opinion. Yeah, yeah. It's not something you would do. It's risky. It's
it
more
is
than,
risky.
yeah, really. And that's why most of the divination too got that so awful reputation, like the spirit board, for example, because most of the people who use it do not know how to use it safely.
Mhm.
They just do not. So obviously there will be some bad experiment, because if you do not set up any protections, like going to sleep with all the window and the front door of your house opened, you never know what's gonna come in, so you should not do that. You just should not.
Yeah, it's just like getting a power tool, like or any kind of tool, and not like a saw, an electric chainsaw, and not reading the manual on how to use it. And
Chainsaw massacre.
yeah, exactly. And you don't know how to use it, and you don't know what the safety measures are. I mean, you could use it safely without reading at the manual. You could, or you could
Maybe.
cut your foot off or your
Yeah.
hand off, or, kill yourself, and because you didn't read the precautions.
Yeah, and you weren't wearing the safety pants and everything else, because they should have the safety pants and all.
The
And
goggles.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you're going to use an electric chainsaw out in the rain when it's pouring out, and then you get electrocuted, you know? Yeah,
Or
losing a toe. Exactly. You could lose a toe, lose an arm, lose a finger.
yeah,
Hmm.
or kill someone else.
And the reason why I bring up the chainsaw is because I just recently bought one, so I could do some do some cutting of limbs of the trees.
Be careful with that.
I read the manual. I have the goggles.
And do you have the safety pants?
We don't need pants, but it does say not to wear loose clothing. So I made sure of my
No,
clothing, and to make sure your hair is
aren't in the way.
back. Yeah,
If it catch
yeah, it could. Yeah,
chemicals and
yeah.
yeah.
And then their CricketSong would be on hiatus for a very long time. And
And
then Obsidian Fire would have to use the Ouija board to talk to me.
oh God, no. Not,
CricketSong, are you here? Yes. How did you die? Chainsaw.
oh God, that would be gross. That would be terrible. What the heck?
um
Okay, so I
Talk
think
about your experiences with using a black mirror. I mean, it was just, what I found using the black mirror was very similar to using my crystal ball. So when I get messages through my crystal ball, they're very like symbolic. Okay. So if I do a tarot reading for someone and someone has a specific question, like I'm just gonna pull just an example. Um, you come and you ask me if your husband is cheating on you, and you want insight because he's acting weird, or he's getting phone calls, or he won't let you see his phone, or whatever. You think maybe he's cheating on you and you want some insight into that. So I can pull tarot cards and get very specific answers. Like I will get like, yes, he is, or no, he isn't, or he isn't, but this is what he's distracted by, or, I could get very specific responses for you in the cards. If I use my crystal ball, I'll get I'll get images like I see a key, I see a fence, I see a box, I see the color green. They're showing me, or an image I'm getting is you walking down the aisle of a church. It's almost like when we dream. I get that kind of images. Sometimes I see symbols, sometimes I see letters, sometimes I see numbers. For me, when I use the crystal ball, it's more like, it's almost like dream interpretation.
Mhm.
Where with the cards, it's very specific. When I use my mirror, it's very much like using the crystal ball. But when I use my mirror, I don't do it for other people. It's just for me.
Mm.
So when I'm using my mirror, I get, if I see a specific image, I know the associations because they're my associations.
Mhm.
But the crystal ball, I don't use for me. I guess, I don't know. For me, there's certain tools that I use for other people and certain tools that I use for me. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but
Mm, that's a good question because I do not do divination for others, but I had in the past. And if I were to do divination for others right now, I think I would keep for myself the divination rods and
yeah,
wouldn't use it
for other people.
someone else. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense to me, because if I were to pick up divination rods, I don't think I would use that for other people,
No.
because that seems a very personal
Yes, it
thing.
is. At least I feel this way, but it's my favorite one. Actually, I still love oracles, but yeah, divination rods is pretty effective. So at least for me.
Yeah,
So nowadays it's my favorite tool, I think. Yeah, I heard you. I
I
don't know
heard
if
that
you heard.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think they agree.
I think they are.
Yeah, yeah, they agree. They agree. Okay, so yeah, yeah. Divination runs would be too personal. But that doesn't mean I would not let someone else see the sense if this someone is close enough or if I have enough trust in this person. But I don't think I would conduct an entire seance with the rods.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, would you sit there using the rods with a group of people like a seance
It depends of
on the people?
yeah, it depends on who is it. Who is it?
Yeah.
And if I have trust in every one of them, yeah, okay, yeah, I could do that. But
Yeah, that was just like me with it's funny because me with table tipping, I would do it with almost anybody. But me with an actual seance, holding a seance, and being the medium, because I go into trance and because I feel very vulnerable when I'm going into trance and when I come out of trance, that it has to be with people I trust.
yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Um,
The kitty is very loud. Which kitty was it?
Kitty?
Your cat?
It's not a cat. It's
Oh, it
it's
was a
it's
crow?
it's ravens. Yep.
It was. Oh my God, I thought it was your cat.
No, it's ravens.
Wow.
As you can see, they're very close to my
Right.
window.
Very
Yeah,
loud.
closer and closer since they appeared, literally appeared in the neighborhood. especially there, in fact.
Right.
Especially
Is your
there.
window open?
Yes,
Okay.
because of the,
The heat.
yeah, I need to let in the fresh hair.
Yeah.
Air, not hair. Air. There is no H.
Rage. Yeah, we have crows more than ravens here.
Yeah, you're lucky. We have more ravens than crow here. So I would like to have. Yeah. Usually, yeah, it's funny. My relationship with them is funny. Things that come in a very special moment. So there was no way for me to mistaken their to mistake yeah to have mistaken their appearance.
Hmm.
Then it's they are inviting themselves in my conversations most of the time. And only on witchcraft um, or associated topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the rest of the time you do not
There
hear.
was complaints. People were complaining about the crows in the neighborhood, um, because apparently some people or some of the population view them more like rats of the sky. And I'm like, well,
But people like to they think they can and they will control everything, and some will complain because it's supposedly destroying agriculture culture.
yeah, they were saying something. One lady in particular in this, this group for the neighborhood, that she has a bird bath, and that because crows wet everything that they need to wet everything that they eat, that they were dropping their food into her bird bath and then eating it. And because the crows are omnivores, they eat meat and vegetation, that they would be dropping like raw meat that they found in someone's garbage in her bird bath. And then it was contaminating the water for all the other birds. So she was getting upset and telling people to make sure that their trash was secured so that the crows couldn't get.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's nature, whether
Yeah.
they get the meat from someone's trash or whether they're, because apparently they steal eggs out of other nests, and they'll eat bugs and things like that, that they could contaminate the water with other things. I don't
Yeah.
know. I like the crows around here. They'll
Yeah,
have
me too.
conversations with me in the morning.
Yeah, yeah, you too. Yeah, me too. Me too. And yeah, there is a project to declare the crows and
Raven.
ravens to be I don't know the right word, so I will have to look
Like
at.
kind of like to cull their population.
Yeah, to declare them harmful, and if officially, I mean, so that would mean the hunters gonna have no bounds, no restraints to kill ravens or and crows and foxes, and there is 9 species um, on this list. So I've signed up against that, and I can't believe that people still do that. We had already destroyed hundreds of animal species since we are growing in population. I mean, we have already polluted the water, put tons of plastic into the oceans, cut half the forest. What else do we need to understand? We are destroying our home.
Mhm.
We are cutting the branch we are seated on. At some point, we're going to fall.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure of that. And then the people who actually said, "Oh yeah, we should kill more of crows or ravens because they're harmful." Not these people because they will be they will be dead already, but the next one gonna cry over all the shit we've done.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah, I can't understand how people doesn't realizing aren't realizing right now what we are, in what situation we are.
Well, obviously, the fact that the crows or the ravens or whatever species are overpopulated is because we've fucked up
Yeah,
the
absolutely,
predator for them. Because
absolutely,
obviously, every species has a predator, and that predator would naturally keep that species population under control.
absolutely.
So, what is the predator for crows, ravens, foxes, whatever? We need to look at the bigger picture. What did we do to those predators that would be
Mm,
keeping those under control? What have we done? You know?
absolutely, and that's exactly what, because there were public consultation. I don't know it's the right term. That they were open to hear the voice of the citizens. If you wanna tell anything about this specific um, decision, so I've brought something, and it was exactly along the what you say, that we've already killed the natural predators for those species. So why the heck are we surprised by the fact that population increasing? Of
Mhm.
course, we did everything we could to make them spread and grow, outnumbered the other species in the area. So yeah, I'm tired of this stupidity. Human is a fucking harmful species.
Mhm.
I'm tired of it. So I think we've missed a question, and I didn't as well understand that question. It was Panda Gamer who was asking, "Can you make your own book?"
Oh,
Book,
are they talking about like a book of shadows?
I don't know. So Panda Gamer, if you're still on, could you please go into details because I don't get your question.
Yeah, crows too. Crows eat roadkill. They're a carrion bird, so
Yeah,
they they're
every
they
one of
eat
them.
whatever. Yeah, I know. They're very helpful.
Yes, they are, but sadly we had killed too much already of natural species.
Mhm.
So now all the biosystem is fucked up thanks to us. Sorry, I
Does
didn't want.
anybody else have questions about divination?
Yeah,
We have about 15 minutes left. Only 15 minutes already. Oh my God. The
yeah,
time is going by.
yeah. What other two might have we forget? Terran, Oracle, Pendulum, Witch's Rune, Black Mirror,
I like witches'
Crystal.
runes. I don't use Norse runes. Have you used the Norse
No,
runes?
not in divination purpose. No.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of possible divination
Oh,
way.
I know. If
This
you
is
just Google divination or you look at Wikipedia, they have a huge list of types of divination that you can do.
um, numerology is kind of a
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
divination. It's classified with it, I think.
I think so.
Um, looking the clouds in the
Yep.
sky.
Yep. I
So,
Ching. I Ching is another
yeah,
thing you can use for divination.
absolutely. Uh, What else do I?
looking into the flame, looking into the
Yes,
fire.
I don't do that. Yeah, I don't. Strangely enough, I don't.
I do that when we would have a bonfire, you know, in the backyard and sit there and stare into the flame and see the images. I would do that.
Oh, that's a funny question. I like this one. It's Purple Galoo who's asking, do your cats want to be there when you read cards or do divination in general?
Yes, my Oberon here. It's the weirdest thing. He could he can be in the other room, and when I'm pulling out my cards to do a reading for a client, I put it on the dining room table and I set up my camera and I start shuffling. Bam, he is on the table. He's sitting on the tarot cloth and he's like, "Okay, mom, let's go." And I'm like, "You cannot be here."
So yeah, it's the same with one of my two cats. The other one is oblivious to that. It doesn't care. But one of them is absolutely coming each time I'm doing any type of divination. he he likes to come even when I use divination rods.
Yeah.
That's pretty difficult because it needs to move and it needs space. But he got so interested into the being who pushed the rods that is coming closer. And what's funny is he looked at it, not at the rods. And I've done it a couple of times and asked to the rods if it was possible for the tool to show me where the being is, the one who is helping to get answers. At the same time, my cat was looking at it, and it pointed exactly in the same direction.
Wow.
It's really funny. It's really funny.
Um,
Have you guys ever tried palm reading? Oh yeah, palm reading. Of course, I knew we had forget one important
yeah, I
one.
don't do palm reading. My
No,
my husband started studying it, and he kind of played around with it for a little bit, but yeah.
yeah, no, I did not as well. But yeah, absolutely, I would love to learn that and start to see if I have any feeling with this method
Hmm.
because I believe we have specific ways we will be more attuned with. Mean that you can use absolutely any tool you want, but I think there will be a bunch you will be better at
Yeah,
or more attuned with
yeah.
than
I
than
agree. I agree. I think we have the ability to use any, but you'll find your favorite
yes,
because it'll something about it will resonate with you more.
yeah, absolutely, and then it's gonna respond stronger. So
Dragon Star Academy said, "Greetings. Thoughts on synchronicity as a form of divination?"
ah, that's that's an interesting way of putting it. I don't, yeah, that's difficult. I don't know if I would put that into divination, but obviously synchronicities talks to us to make us understand something, to draw our attention on something. So it could
Yeah,
be a part of divination if, and we do, if we consider that divination is about seeking insights.
yeah. It's
Synchronicities,
just like it's reading the omens, it's reading the portents, the signs. So yeah, if you're reading that and you're reading into the synchronicities that happen, it would be like reading the signs, which then would give you insight. But when I think of divination, I don't think of that as divination.
me,
But I
but
mean, it would
yes,
fit.
it's kind of part of it. It's more, yeah. but I don't look at it as divination as well, because most of the
You know
time,
what I think it is? I
uh,
think it's because when I think of divination, I think of getting a tool and sitting down and specifically asking a question and then getting the insight. With synchronicity, I think it just I put myself in it towards an intention, or I ask the universe or whoever to guide me, and those synchronicities are more guide points or road markers on whether I'm going in the right direction or not.
I agree. And
I
most
think
of
that's
the time,
why I don't.
divination rods, what it is? Well, that,
Yeah, they're dowsing rods.
yeah, the one people gonna use to find water,
Water.
it wasn't their first use. The first one was to talk with divines being. So yeah, this it's very effective for me. And I've seen a question. I'm not sure I get either. I'm sorry. Today I have trouble to understand about with no from Amy. Did you see it?
Sometimes when I use the psychic circle, it can be negative or scary. What does that mean? Or sometimes it gives me so much info as if to solve a crime and I don't know if I can do it. I guess I would need to know what you mean by psychic circle.
Me too, because I don't understand. I'm sorry.
What do you, the only circle I think of is a magic circle or
I was
casting circle. I'm not sure what you mean by psychic circle.
Me neither. I don't understand.
Remote viewing, I've heard of remote viewing. I wouldn't consider that a form of divination. That's more for me. Remote viewing goes in the category of astral travel and astral journeying.
Yeah, I'm not sure to understand what is.
So remote viewing is okay. So it's very, I would, like I said, compare it to astral travel, out of
Mhm,
body experience.
mhm,
For me, an out of body experience or an astral travel is when my spirit leaves my physical body and actually travels to another location.
mhm.
Remote viewing is staying sort of staying in my astral self stays in my body, but I am able to sort of project my sight to the location. So it's the difference between looking through a video camera at you Obsidian,
Mhm.
or astral journeying to you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, I agree. It
That's
enters.
how I would see it. So it's similar, but it's different.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so
And I think personally, when you're learning to astral travel, I think the first step is the remote viewing process, where you sort of know what you're seeing, but you're not there. And then you get to the point where you can actually go there spiritually.
Amy, there is no such thing. There is no such, I mean, board more or less positive than one another. Ouija board is just a brand name. It's a spirit board anyway. And what defines if it is positive or negative is the way you're going to use it. If you don't know how to use it safely, then there is chances that it will turn bad. Exactly as this, on the same way with like this chainsaw we talked about. If you don't know how to use a specific mechanics or tool, or no, there might be some problems. And it's the same way with the board. You need to know how to protect yourself before using it. If not, it means that your house is open to communicate with any type of non visible being that lurks around. So your call. But if I were you, I'd put some protections before using anything.
Yeah, I agree. Whether it's a Ouija board, a brand name Ouija board, whether it's Psychic Circle, whether it's an angel board, whether it's a cat board or
Just name it.
whatever design it has, it's a spirit board. You're using that tool to that board in whatever design, whatever form, you're using that board to communicate with spirit.
Yes. And if
Yes.
you
So,
are not specific about which spirits you are agreed to talk with, then any will come by. Absolutely any type.
mhm.
I think you don't want to go for that. And that kind of, I suppose, answered the question you've said, sorry, you said sometime when I use the psychic circle, so spirit board, it can be negative or scary. What does that mean? Yeah, that means that you didn't put any protections. Full stop.
Or if you did put protections and you're still finding it scary, then I would then suggest that you are opening yourself up to anything and any spirit that is coming by,
Mhm.
instead of specifically saying, I want to talk to someone of my beloved dead, or I want to talk to my spirit guide, or
Yeah,
I want to talk to my deity, or I want to talk to my guardian angel, or I want to talk to the little boy that lived across the street that died. When you're specific, it's just like Obsidian said, when you're calling, when you pick up your phone, you dial a specific number. If you're looking, I want to talk to Elvis Presley, or if you're and then I would even suggest, you when this spirit comes forward and says, I'm Elvis Presley, ask questions to determine whether the spirit is being honest with you.
yes,
But
yes,
then that's all in spiritual discernment,
yes.
knowing how to determine whether this spirit is who you want to be speaking with, or it's another spiritual entity with a different agenda. And then
Mm,
I feel like that's when it can get scary, and you need to know what to do in that circumstance.
yeah,
Before you use the chainsaw, you need to read all the warnings and know what to do if something is going bad.
sure, sure. You need to. Could it be the players? What?
It could be. I mean, I would say, yeah. If you're sitting with a very angry person, someone who has a lot of internal personal anger, and another person who is totally distracted and is not paying attention, and then someone who is, yeah, I'm going to show these fuckers, I'm going to call a demon. Yeah. I mean, if you're all not on the same page and you're all not working together with the tool, then you could get chaotic energy, and you could get someone inviting whatever.
Anything, yeah, yeah, pretty anything. I, if you're not comfortable with the two, my opinion would be you probably would consider the fact of using it with anyone else but you.
Yeah.
First, to know your tool and know yourself with this specific tool. How do you tame it? How do you understand it? How do you set up strong enough protection? How do you lead the sense? And once you're comfortable with all those steps, then yeah, sure, bring some people, but be careful who you bring on. Try to be, at least, in my opinion.
My question for you would be, how would you know why? All right. Why would you worry that she may have received an imposter? What worried you about it? Why do you think she received an imposter? Because if it was her dad, did you know her dad in life? I mean, do you know what her relationship with her dad was? How well do you know the woman you were sitting with when you were doing that? Do you know what I mean? You always thought it wasn't good to use alone.
That's
Again,
that's Hollywood knowledge. And I can totally understand where you come from because I once was there too. But it's all face. It's all fake. It's all movie knowledge. That's bullshit. Another way.
I
That's
mean, if my thought is if you don't know how to use it and you know someone who uses spirit boards and has experience using spirit boards, then using the spirit board with someone who's already understands it and you use it with them so that you can learn how to use it. I think
Mhm.
that's a great thing because then you're learning through already having research and then experience with someone. It's like, going mountain climbing with someone who already mountain climbs,
But
instead of trying to climb the mountain by yourself with nobody around to show you the ropes.
which is way more difficult. But if there is no one around,
Mm-hmm.
learn it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're gonna need to go over any Hollywood bullshits, and there is a lot. There is a
And
lot of
if
up there.
if you're worried about the Hollywood bullshit, you're already going into the
You're
situation with fear.
yes,
And you're going into using a tool that has already got a bad reputation. You're bringing fear with you.
you're gonna
Chances are your experience isn't going to be a positive one because you're already setting forth, you're sort of setting up
a
uh,
pattern. You're gonna
yeah,
tap into a gigantic sound form attached
yeah, yep.
G or any name you want to put psychic and square and triangle and whatever board because there is a gigantic thought form attached to it uh, because of what? Because of too much people using it without even putting the simplest of protection. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Learn
It's
it.
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think that it's going to be a bad experience, if you're fearful that it's going to be a bad experience, then you're probably going to have a bad experience.
Yes. So do not. You can use it alone.
You can.
Absolutely, you can, as long as you have settled your barrier around yourself, your house, or wherever the place is you're gonna use it. It's perfectly okay. And
It's
then
just a tool.
yes, it is. It's not. It's not different than using an oracle deck or tarot deck. It's the same. It's
Yep.
exactly the same.
So, oh, before you guys have to end, it is time to end.
I've seen too that Louis has asked, "How would you go about using divination rods?" Louis, if you are in the word which is witchcraft group on Facebook, send me a message there or post a message there, and I will answer you. But we are running out of time.
We've ran out of time. What ways do you, and Amy, what ways do you protect yourself? The same way you would protect yourself doing any other form of magic or witchcraft or ritual. So if you're already familiar with just protection in general, then use the ways that you protect yourself in general, how you would protect your home. But yeah, it's time to end.
Yes.
It's 9:36. So if you want to continue this type of questioning,
you
send us questions next week because it's a Q&A and we'll talk about whatever. We only have an hour though. So if you submit your questions early, send it to me in an email, in a Facebook message. If you're in the Wyrds Witches Witchcraft group, I have a post where you can look for that post and post your questions there, and we'll take those questions first. And
Mhm.
then if we have time, we'll take the questions in the chat. But it's only an hour. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's time to go, Obsidian.
Yes, it is. Merci tout le monde d'avoir participé et en espérant vous voir pour mon dernier épisode la semaine prochaine. Après ça, je disparais jusqu'en octobre, si on reprend. Je pense qu'on reprendra, mais voilà, on verra. Et voilà, donc je vais vous souhaiter un bon été, de bonnes vacances si vous partez en vacances. Voilà, que tout aille bien pour vous, etc. Et ça m'a fait plaisir de passer un peu de temps avec vous. Tous ceux qui se sont manifestés, tous ceux qui laissent des commentaires, tous ceux qui regardent. C'est super. Donc, à la prochaine fois pour le petit dernier. Bye bye.
And until next week, I love you. Mwah. Blessed be everyone. See you Friday.